A conjunction is a word that joins words, phrases, or clauses in a sentence. There are different types of conjunctions: coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and correlative conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions. A coordinating conjunction is a word that joins words, phrases, or independent clauses. There are 7 types of coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. An easy way to remember these coordinating conjunctions is to remember FANBOYS, fanboys. Now let's go through each use of a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunctions join words, join phrases, and join independent clauses. Let's begin with how a coordinating conjunction joins words. We use coordinating conjunctions to join nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. Let's go through some examples. He ate pizza and chips. Pizza and chips are nouns. So coordinating conjunctions join nouns. She sang and danced in the pouring rain. Sang and danced are verbs. Therefore, coordinating conjunctions join verbs. She's recovering from the accident, slowly but surely. Slowly and surely are adverbs. So coordinating conjunctions join adverbs. The building was old yet beautiful. Old and beautiful are adjectives. It's important to note that if we have more than 2 things, then we have to place a comma between each thing in the list. For example, I bought apples, bananas, oranges, and grapes. So here I have a list of 4 nouns. Therefore, a comma is required after each noun. Whether a comma is required just before the conjunction is a difference between British and American English. When the comma comes before the conjunction, it's called an Oxford comma. Subordinating conjunctions. A subordinating conjunction is used with a subordinate clause. A subordinate clause is a clause that doesn't make sense on its own as a sentence. It's a dependent clause. Essentially, the subordinate clause doesn't express a complete thought on its own. Therefore, it depends on an independent clause to make sense. A subordinating conjunction is used to join a dependent clause with an independent clause. So, if the sentence begins with an independent clause, followed by a dependent clause, then we don't need to put a comma in between. However, if the sentence begins with a dependent clause, followed by an independent clause, then we need to put a comma between them. Let's look through some examples. Jay ate a lot of food because he was hungry. Here, the independent clause is Jay ate a lot of food. This makes sense on its own. The dependent clause is because he was hungry. Here, the dependent clause provides more information about the independent clause. So it tells us why he ate a lot of food. So because the independent clause is first, then followed by the dependent clause, we don't need to put a comma between the two. As you can see, the subordinating conjunction because is used to join the two clauses. Although Jay was hungry, he didn't eat any food. Here we have a subordinating conjunction followed by the dependent clause, then the independent clause. Although Jay was hungry. This clause alone doesn't make any sense. Therefore, it's a dependent clause. He didn't eat any food. This makes sense on its own. Therefore, it's an independent clause. Because the dependent clause comes first, followed by the independent clause, we put a comma between the two clauses, like this. Now I will go through the common subordinating conjunctions in English. After, although, as if, as long as much as soon as though, because, before, by the time, even if, even though, every time, if, in case, in order that, in the event that, just in case, lest, now that, once, only if, provided that, rather than, since, so that, supposing, than, that, though, till, unless, until, when, whenever, where, whereas, wherever, whether or not, whether, while, correlative conjunctions are used in pairs to join parts of a sentence. The common correlative conjunctions are as, both, and, either or, hardly, when, neither nor, no sooner than, not only but also, rather than, scarcely, when, so, as, so that, such, that, the more, whether, or. Now let's look at some examples. She sang as loud as she could. The correlative conjunction in this sentence is as. I don't know whether to cook rice or pasta. The correlative conjunction in this sentence is whether or.